In the middle of chaos, she stands perfectly still. As gunshots crack through Dealey Plaza and people scatter in panic, one figure does not run. She does not duck. She does not cover her head. She raises a camera to her face and keeps filming. And then she disappears into history. This is still unexplained. Brief explorations of unsolved mysteries. My name is Mark, and this is the mystery of the Babushka Lady. Before we get into the mystery, we should talk about the name. Babushka is a Russian word that literally means grandmother, and it's often associated with headscarves traditionally worn by older women in parts of Eastern Europe and Russia. Think of a scarf tied under the chin, practical and modest, something you'd see in old photographs of rural villages or post-war city streets. So when investigators and researchers saw a woman in Dealey Plaza wearing a headscarf like that, she got tagged with a nickname that stuck: the Babushka Lady. And for more than 60 years, she has been one of the most haunting, unidentified figures connected to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. On November 22, 1963, Kennedy was shot while riding in a motorcade through Dallas, Texas. It's one of the most photographed events of the 20th century. Amateur filmmakers and photographers captured the scene from multiple angles. You've got the famous Zapruder film, but also footage from Orville Nix, Marie Muchmore, Mark Bell, and others. A chaotic moment frozen into frames people have combed through endlessly. And in several of those films, she appears. A woman in a tan coat standing near the street as the motorcade approaches, a scarf covering her head. In her hands, something that looks very much like a camera. What makes her remarkable isn't that she's just there. It's what she does when the world breaks open. When the shots begin, Dealey Plaza erupts. People hit the ground, they run, they scream. Some look for cover behind concrete walls and signs. You could feel the fear in the footage, even without sound. But then she doesn't respond like the others. She stays upright. She keeps the camera raised. She keeps filming. That alone is unsettling because it defies what we expect a human being to do in a moment of sudden, deadly violence. Most of us would instinctively duck or flee. But she remains composed, almost statue-like. And then after the limousine speeds away, she does something else that adds fuel to the fire. She crosses Elm Street and moves towards the grassy knoll. That's the area that almost immediately became a focal point of suspicion. Some witnesses said they heard shots from that direction. Others claimed they saw movement or smoke. Whether those accounts were accurate or not, the grassy knoll became part of the mythology and the argument. So the question becomes, why would this woman who remained eerily calm during the gunfire then walk towards the very place many believed danger had come from? And here's the real hook. She never came forward. No official testimony, no press interview, no "hi, that was me. Here's what I saw." And the most important piece of all is, if she truly was filming, it's never surfaced. Her footage, if it existed, could have been valuable. It might have captured an angle no one else did. It might have shown what happened seconds before, during, or after the shots. Or it might have shown nothing. But either way, it should have existed. What brings us to a detail a lot of people miss. The Babushka Lady was not just a curiosity for internet sleuths. She was recognized as missing evidence at an official level. In the late 1970s, the U.S. House Select Committee on Assassinations, known as the HSCA, reopened the case and attempted to track down and analyze every known film or photograph from Dealey Plaza. In their final report, the committee listed items they pursued but could not locate. Among them was the Babushka Lady film. That doesn't mean the government confirmed she recorded the assassination, but it does mean the investigators believe there was likely footage associated with her and that it was never recovered. So where did she go? Now, if you've read about the case, you've probably come across the only person who publicly claimed to be her, a woman named Beverly Oliver. In 1970, Oliver said she was the Babushka Lady. She claimed she filmed the assassination and that two men claiming to be FBI agents confiscated the film days later and never returned it. At first glance, it sounded like a breakthrough. But her story runs into problems. She said she filmed with a particular kind of Super 8 camera, often described as a Yashica Super 8. The issue that specific model she referenced was not available in 1963, which is a very hard fact to get around. When challenged, Oliver later claimed it was an experimental prototype. Other parts of her story also clash with known timelines and witness placements. She describes standing with people who, according to records and testimony, were not where she said they were at relevant times. Over the years, most researchers have dismissed her claim, not necessarily because she's malicious, but because her account doesn't line up cleanly with verifiable details. So we're back where we started. A woman appears in multiple films, holding what looks like a camera, behaving in a way that feels unnatural to watch, and she remains unidentified. Now here's where the mystery gets interesting in a quieter, more human way, because there are explanations that do not require conspiracies, spies, or cover-ups. One possibility is that her footage was a mess. In 1963, cameras were not point-and-shoot miracles. Film was finicky, exposure could be wrong, focus could be off, a lens cap could be left on, a thumb could block the frame, the film could be shaky, blurred, or unusable. Imagine living through that day thinking you captured something important, developing the film and realizing it was worthless. You might feel embarrassed. You may not want attention. You might want to forget the whole thing. There is a story referenced in later discussions around the assassination records about a woman who brought film to be developed, and it turned out extremely blurry and unusable. Her name was never recorded. If that story is true, it gives a very ordinary explanation for why the missing film never became famous. Another possibility is even simpler. She may never have known she became a mystery. There's precedent for this. Another Dealey Plaza figure, the so-called Umbrella Man, was the subject of intense speculation for years. Some believed he was signaling to assassins. Others thought he was a foreign agent. Eventually, a man named Louis Stephen Witt came forward and explained the umbrella was a protest symbol aimed at Kennedy's father's politics. He said he had no idea people were obsessing over him for years. So it's possible the Babushka Lady lived out her life unaware she was being studied frame by frame. Still, the reason people can't let go of the story is because of the way she looks in the footage. Still, centered, intentional. It's a kind of visual that makes your brain start building narratives. Was she unusually calm under pressure? Was she trained? Was she simply stubbornly focused on her camera? Was she trying to capture evidence? Was she recording because she sensed somehow that this moment mattered? Or was she just an ordinary person caught in an extraordinary moment, reacting in a way none of us can fully predict until we're in it? The Babushka Lady remains a blank space in one of the most documented tragedies in American history. A witness without testimony. A camera without film. And that combination is irresistible, because it suggests that even in a moment watched by the entire world, something crucial might still be missing. This has been Still Unexplained. Thanks for listening.